Hi, I'm Beating Barry and welcome back to Chasertech. Today we're going to be talking about building your brand. The springtime has come again, and the first tornadoes of the year have come through the plains. A lot of younger, newer guys are hitting the field and have been getting some great footage, and to those guys I say congratulations. Some of you are making sales, some of you are getting your names known and published, and I couldn't be happier for you. You've earned it. Now, when you're talking about building a brand, some of you have been talking about building your YouTube channel or making a larger presence on social media. And these are all great things if you want your name to be known and you want to turn chasing into your full-time job instead of having to work some crappy job and chase on the side. Now, there are certain rules and pitfalls that some people break or fall into, and we're going to go over a couple of those today. First of all, brands and branding. If you're looking for backing, from a brand, first of all, you have to contact them. Don't just put their products into your videos or pimp their products without proper compensation. You don't make money by doing things for free. This should be obvious. This is not to say that you shouldn't recommend products or certain brands based on how they perform. A good performer is always worth promoting if someone asks you, or if it's just your thing, if you just like it. Prime example, Barron. I use Barron products. I use Mobile ThreatNet. I once had ThreatNet, which was nice. When I contacted them, the only time I did contact them to ask about backing, they told me they'd give me $100 off a one-year subscription of Barron ThreatNet. Problem is, Barron ThreatNet is almost $1,000 a year, so that's not much of a bargain. Still, the product is good. And that's why I retweet them, that's why I like all of their posts, because I like the product, I like the company, I believe in what they're doing. You may run into some unique situations. I was once backed by a competitor of Barron. A competitor that, as of this time, wishes to remain nameless. They pretty much always wish to remain nameless and gave me access to a $100,000 suite of software that I could use to test in the field for local storm spotting operations. Turns out that that product wasn't as good as some other products for that exact purpose, but for the enterprise business purpose of providing weather advisories, warnings, lightning distance markers, that type of thing, and measuring threats against a stationary position, it worked great. This is an example of the type of partnership that can get you something for nothing. You might not be receiving any money for this product. However, you are getting a very high dollar product without having to pay for it. This is still a gain. This works in your favor, and still among the industry, people can get your name out there. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want anything to appear as open promotion in paid productions or in monetized videos. For example, this Gatorade bottle. If this video is monetized, this Gatorade bottle shouldn't be sitting here. And as a matter of fact, it shouldn't be sitting here now. Gatorade is not paying me, Coca-Cola is not paying me. I want to make money. Why would I put someone's product in my production if they're not paying me? And that's the same question you should ask yourself. Why would you put the branding and logos of a company in your production if they aren't paying you to do so? Companies pay a lot of money to a lot of people and a lot of other companies every year to display their product. And it should be no different from you. Incidental things that turn up in your videos, however, that can matter or that can not matter. Should this Sonim phone be sitting here? Well, this is my cell phone, so why wouldn't it be sitting here? This is an example of allowable placement if you're trying to monetize. If you're reviewing a product, if what you do is review products and you already own these products, is there any loss in reviewing them? No, because you've already paid your money, you've already spent the money, you have this product. Why not review it if review videos are what you do? Now, this is different, however, in paid reviewing. If someone sends you product for free, in order to review, you have to place the label that this includes paid content. An example, Global Star satellite phones. They sent me a GSP 1700 unit to review. It was under the understanding that it was a unit for review that would be sent back when it was done. If anyone from Global Star is watching this, contact me in the comments and tell me how to return this phone to you. I've had it for 4 years. The person that gave it to me at your company no longer worked there by the time it was time to return it, and I have no information whatsoever on how to send it back to you. It would be really, really nice if I could get this phone and send it back to you so that you have it back. But these are things that pop up every now and then when you're doing these type of videos. Like I stated earlier, never do a full feature and put branding and logos in your video if it's monetized, if you want to make money off of it, and they're not paying you. That is a baseline guarantee. If you promote someone's product and branding specifically without an agreement in place to pay you, they're never going to come around and say, well, we'll give you some money now. That's just not going to happen. That's not how that works. An example that I have personally, recently, is an energy drink company. This energy drink company will remain nameless. I had been talking to them in private messages and DMs on Twitter for some time, and they pretty much said that they would back me. I took this to mean at least free product, because free product is just as good as payment. Depends on how far you want to go on YouTube or social media, being a paid influencer. If you're good going with an energy drink company that gives you free energy drink and you like energy drink like I like energy drink, well then a few cases of free energy drink every now and then, that's good enough as payment. If these terms are not acceptable to you, make sure that your client knows that. However, this company dangled that carrot, and then after I began promoting them, informed me that they would not be sending free product, but that they would send an influencer box. If you haven't had the pleasure of dealing with some of these companies that send influencer boxes, here's what an influencer box is. You will get a large box on your front porch a couple of weeks after you talk to these companies. You think that it's going to be full of their product. That's what one would assume. However, when you pick the box up, it is definitely not full of energy drink. It is nowhere near heavy enough to even be a can of energy drink. What you will find is stickers, bandanas emblazoned with their logo, cheap sunglasses with their logo, bottle openers with their logo, keychains with their logo, everything with their logo. They're going to send you swag. They're not going to send you money. They're not going to send you product. They're going to send you swag to promote their brand without paying you. Don't accept these deals. If you get an influencer box and it does not come with actual product, do not put it in your videos. Don't put it in your product placement. Don't do it, because then you will look like a shill. You will look like a flat-out shill who they can exploit without payment. That's not what you want. You want to be financially independent. You do not want to be an unpaid shill. Next step is visibility. Visibility, what does that mean? That means that you are maintaining a high enough social media profile in order to start becoming desirable for companies to sponsor. Myself, I am not there yet. I've had a few sponsorships over the years that actually did pay. One I will speak of is Windex wiper blades. Windex wiper blades was a stock brand that was available at Kmart and was available at Sears. Now, to this day, you can still find them for sale on the internet, but I am imagining that this is warehouse stock that is running down. From what I understand, they were made by a company called WinPlus USA. And when you look up WinPlus USA now, what you will find is they have been bought by Type S Automotive Accessories, and that Windex wiper blades page leads to a 404. I no longer believe these to be in production, which is a shame because they worked rather well and were affordable. Another one is going to be Scrubblade. I had a sponsorship with Scrubblade that I lost track of some time back. They were sending me free wiper blades. So once again, if anyone from Scrubblade is watching this, leave it down in the comments. I will get in touch with you if you're still interested. But free product, once again, is as good as money if that is acceptable to you. However, at a certain point, you're going to want money instead of free product. In order to demand money instead of free product, you are going to have to be known. You're going to have to produce footage. You're going to have proof that you've been out in the field. And then when you have paid sponsorships out in the field, you're going to have to mention them in a video. If you have a tornado ongoing in your frame and you go to leave, don't shut your camera off. You know, it becomes burdensome, but don't shut your camera off as soon as you're getting ready to take it off the tripod. You want to leave it running, because what's better than seeing your tornado footage and then cutting away from that to turn around to go back to the car and mentioning your excellent Scrubblade wiper blades, for instance, or this wonderful Ford Maverick truck that Ford gave you, or these Falcon tires that they just gave you some money to promote, talking about how good they are while you're running back to your car to try to reposition. You can imagine that this probably is tiresome, and it is. However, this is what you have to do to maintain your sponsorships. The third thing I'm going to talk about is your video itself, weather footage itself. Some storm chasers that are more experienced, that have been around doing this a longer time, especially in the plains, have dealt with brokers in the past and now sell their own video independently. There's a few that I can think of that are able to do this independently. It's probably your godfathers of storm chasing, your Warren Fadleys, your Shane Adamses, your Adam Reagans, Ben Holcombs, if he sells, and Jeff Petrowski, crazy as he may be. Now, a lot of the rest of us are going to be going through brokers. I myself broker through LSM, through Brett Adair from Weather Nation. A whole lot of people broker for LSM. There's some others that are with Severe Studios, or SVL. And there are a couple of other smaller companies that have been around a longer time. You know, you have Doug Kiesling's B&V, and you have, well, you formerly had KDR Media. Kendra Reed used to run KDR Media. That is gone now. She's, from what I understand, no longer in that business. But you're going to have a way to sell your footage. Now, the downside of using a broker is that they're going to take a percentage of your sales. Right off the bat, they're going to take a percentage of your sales. I happen to know that the Weather Channel generally pays $100 or more through Storyful. If you're using Storyful, Storyful is kind of a social media thing, but it's also kind of like a broker. There is going to, you best bet that Storyful is getting their cut too. And if you're selling video, that's great. That's excellent. The thing you don't want to do, don't think that giving away footage for free is going to get your name out there any further than it will by selling it. It just doesn't work that way. You're going to have news reporters, when you post your videos to Twitter or to Facebook or to Instagram, are going to contact you and say, "Hi, my name is Carol from the Weather Channel. This is an excellent video. I hope everyone is safe. May the Weather Channel have the rights to use your video in perpetuity in multiple forms, and we will give you credit." There are so many people that I see answer yes, and these are people that usually aren't storm chasers. They're just normal people that want to get their video on TV if they can, and they see that opportunity and they put it out there. I'm not quite sure why they do that, because that takes money out of the game. Most normal people do not realize that if you tell them, give me $100, they'll probably give you $100. If you say, give me $1,000, they're not going to do that. Anything really over $100, they're going to balk at. But this is the type of thing you have to deal with when you don't use a broker. Brokers can get you a higher return on your footage every time. Best believe that. I have sold footage of nothing. I have sold footage of crappy flash floods for hundreds of dollars because of a broker. That is the power of a broker. These are generally people that the media companies already know and already deal with, and they can get you a good deal. I have sold footage of driving. Camera mounted on the windshield, out the windshield, driving down the road, sped up 16 times, and I drove all day, and the whole video goes by in 4 minutes, and a company will buy it. Companies will buy tornado incidents and damage, even if you do not video the tornado itself. If you're in an area like I am, where it's hard to see the actual tornado, where the funnel or the tube itself is going to be hidden by trees or features of the landscape, but you still get damage, that's going to sell. This is why a lot of chasers, especially longer term chasers, they kind of don't chase Dixie anymore, is because Dixie is hard to see tornadoes in. However, very easy to go get damage footage, because there is a lot to film when it comes to damage down there. You're filming the worst day of people's lives. Some people just don't agree with the morals of this, so they are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to get paid to be a blood merchant or whatever, so I'm not going to sell that. Note, I do not have a problem with shooting and getting paid for damage footage. So always make sure that your video isn't out there getting exploited for free. News media companies also have dirty tricks that they will use. Not too long ago, an on-camera meteorologist, whom I actually respect, did this to me. They will take your video, even if you're going through a broker, even if it's watermarked not for broadcast. If it's watermarked not for broadcast, they cannot take that and put that on air with that watermark there. It is not for broadcast. They can't do it. What they can do, however, is on social media, on Twitter, they can take your post of your video with the watermark on it and retweet it. They will retweet it and they will say, hey, be careful out there, this is what the conditions are like, and there's your video with a not for broadcast watermark. However, it's being retweeted on social media, not shared on a digital platform, not on film. Retweeted. They can get away with this because it's not broadcast. So you got to watch out for that. Always make sure you watermark your videos no matter what. If you have a broker, if you don't have a broker, try to cut things in a way which will make it difficult for news media companies to exploit your footage for free without paying you. Watermark it. Do whatever you need to do. Do not give it away for free. And if they start stealing your footage, go after them. Go after them. You know, a very polite but threateningly worded DM will go a long way. Well, these are 3 tips for building your brand and getting paid. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.